Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to another Friday game review. Staying in line with our Western themed month, I thought I would go and review possibly the best fantasy Western RPG of all time. That's right, you saw it in the title, you're going to see it again here. The one, the only, Deadlands. A game so fantastic that Flying Frog Studios had to go out and make the greatest board game of all time. You can see it up there. A crap ton of Shadows of Brimstone, which is essentially the same game. You don't believe me? Go out and buy them both. Come back and review them, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Both great games. One's more of a miniature cooperative board game with some solo play, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Deadlands. To this day, I can't think of a more popular, more immersive fantasy role-playing game of the West that never was. So great was this game that the one and the only, hold on, let me get to it, Bruce Campbell had to do the forward for it, okay? If that doesn't scream Wild West and fantasy, they're really, nothing else is going to do it. Right off the bat, the beginning of the book is a good, I want to say 20 plus pages of just some absolutely perfectly written Western immersion into the world of Deadlands, the Epitaph's Newcomer's Guide to the Weird West. Everything you could want to know, all boiled down into a newspaper style, 10-cent dime novel sort of. This is what's new in the world. This is the world. This is your beginning introduction to the world, followed up by your basics. The game mechanics go on for a good, let's say, 50-ish pages, followed by the character section, which is really nicely done. Here's the first one. It gives you a really nice picture of one of all of the character professions, and I'm going to go into those in just a minute. Followed up, after it gives you all the stats and a little bit about the personality, gives you a quote. Now, the quotes aren't the best. I could have probably written better, quotes for the characters, but, after writing, 15, 20 character quotes, it might have got a little tiresome for the writer, but I get it. Starting out with the Buffalo Girl, basically, your what was her name? What was that girl's name? Oh God, shit. I'll come up with it later. But she used to star in a lot of movies with W.C. Fields, and the typical boisterous female westernized woman of the age. Then the Cowpoke, the Coyote Brave, the Gambler, the Gaucho, the Gunslinger, the Huckster, the Kid. Can't have a good cowboy movie without a good kid in it. The Mad Scientist, the Men in Black, which pretty brave. The Muckraker, which is basically your newspaper reporter. The Nun, the Pony Express rider. Love that. The Preacher, the Prospector, the Saloon Girl, the Sheriff. And we're not done yet. The Shyster, the Sioux Shaman, the Soldier, the Spy, and my favorite, of course, the Texas Ranger. The game is based around the discovery of what they call Ghost Rock, and in Shadows of Brimstone, it's called Darkstone. A new rock, a new mineral that, when fiddled with, thrown in your steam engines or whatnot, produces insane amounts of power, and became, the commodity sought after more so than gold. But it definitely had its price. With it came abominations and horrors, zombies, and all sorts of fantastical monsters that would be powered by this stone or proximity to it, or had you buried your dead in a tombstone that's right on the graveyard that's right on top of Ghost Rock, You can imagine all kinds of the horrors that you would get. And horrors plenty. You've got everything from dragons to zombies to even great elder things, Cthulhu-esque monsters of all shapes and sizes. One of the cool aspects of this game is it's one of the only games to ever use cards in the proper fashion. I'm not going to go into the mechanics of it. You should go out and grab yourself a copy of it. But a regular set of cards thrown into the mix is just another way to get the game rolling. And of course, you'll have them right there if you want to, play a couple hands of poker to see if your character makes it out of town alive, a rich man or a dead man. Now, I've got both books here. We're going to go through this one. There's chapters on every subject you want for the players. There's also actual chapters on most of the character classes. The huckster being a sort of, I don't want to use the word Gambit from Marvel Comics, but that character comes to mind and was probably inspired by the huckster for Deadlands, the mad scientist, and all the different things that they can do. A good little chapter on all the different things that they could do. And this is a very, I'm going to call it steampunk type game, even though I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I see a lot of Steam devices, and it really has that sort of feel of using technology beyond its era in a new way that mostly revolves around putting the Darkstone in your boiler, sort of like a coal substitute, but with it all kinds of mystical properties. Then I got the Marshal's Handbook here. Yes, I got them both recently to replace the ones that I sold, which, boy, do I regret it. But you've heard me talk about selling things before. It's not a hard game to find. It used to be a lot more expensive, and that's what held me back when I started playing Shadows of Brimstone, that I wanted it to help narrate the games for my son and I when we were playing Shadows. And now I've got the RPG, and I can take that board game into a whole new level, because they're basically the same game as far as I'm concerned. To be honest, Flying Frog may own Pinnacle some money, the way I see it, and I hate to say it because I'm a huge fan of Flying Frog products, not their policies and things like that I could do an entire video on, but I'm not gonna, because I'm in a good mood. But the Marshal's Handbook is basically your DMG for the game. It's got everything you as the GM need to know, but not the players. It's got a crap ton of monsters and rules and NPCs and maps of the world according to Pinnacle at the time, as well as, like I said, a ton of well drawn out NPCs. Some you may recognize, some maybe not so much. And it goes through a good portion of the West. From what I'm seeing here, I haven't finished actually reading this book. I know that's not entirely fair for you guys as a review, but I had the book before in the past. I love the game. Unfortunately, I just couldn't find the players at the time, and now with the internet being the go-to source for finding players for just about any old game you can think of, I can't think of a better game to recommend in this month of April, the wildest Wild West month you're ever going to see on the internet, right here with Shadow and Sun. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you guys will give it some thought. If you're in the mood for some Spurs and Six Guns and a little bit of sorcery thrown in, this is the game for you. This is the game for me. I cannot wait to get this into a game, probably this summer, but I got a lot of reading to do to really make this my game. If you guys have played it before, or if you're in a game and you want to talk about the Pinnacle version, I know there's another version out there. I forget who does it, but I'm not a big fan of that company, just because I haven't had the chance to really go over it. Maybe you can tell me why it's better than the original. Either way, we've got the comment section down below to continue the conversation. Or if you want to find me on Discord, you know where to find me. But in the meantime, I have got a game with Bo from Bo Paints Minis, Mark from Mark's Genre Mixer, and the one and only oneand, and Kevin, also known as That Darn Cat. We're going to be playing some game tonight. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Love you guys. And remember, play the games with the people you love, and everything's going to be just fine. Until next time, happy trails.